Hi everyone, and welcome to this class about Web3. My name is Justina, and I will be going through the subject matter within this course with you. I'm going to start with an introduction to what is Web3. However, before I can get to talking to you about Web3, I think you would need to know what is the history of the web. And so Web 1, for example, was an accessible internet with static web pages. However, anyone who wanted to code on the web could, but only a few people knew how to code at that time. So it was very limited in nature. And the other thing is what it was run on raw code, and the websites that existed at that time were not very interactive. They were very static. So as a user and someone who will be using the website, you would notice you can't really have a back and forth. And that's when Web 2 came in. Web 2 allows for interaction between the user and the website. And so, however, the issue is with Web 2 is that it is run by very few companies and is quite centralized. What do I mean by that? Most of you have probably used Facebook, interacted with Amazon or Google. There are very few companies, and what ended up happening in the space of Web 2 is that it is centralized in nature, and you can be a content creator, so you can interact with the website, but that being said, you're not really in charge of your content. What ends up happening is companies like Facebook, Amazon, and Google have your data, and then they can take that data, specifically in the case of Facebook, they can take your data and sell your data to other parties in order to make an income. So actually, as the consumer in Web 2, you are the product. And that's when we start getting into what is Web 3. Web 3 is different. Web 3 is decentralized. And what do I mean by that? Well, the coding behind it is different. So I'm just going to go back for a moment to Web 2, which is JavaScript and HTML5. So the programming language, as we change between Web 1, Web 2, Web 3 also changes, and it allows for a different level of interaction. So I personally was at a conference in Toronto a couple of years ago, and I met the Brave team, which created the Brave browser, which means you start becoming you end up being able to figure out how you want to use the data, how you want to share the data, and have privacy and also the ability to make money. So Web3 decentralizes the internet. Web3 allows for decentralized governance on the internet. So let me explain to you what that means. So when it comes to the internet and the second iteration, like I mentioned, you had the interaction, and now you have the interaction where the user has a lot more rights and the web is more decentralized. So for example, with Brave browser, you can go into the browser and then you can choose the kind of ads you want to see. When you choose the ads you want to see, you can get paid for seeing those ads. So you're no longer the product, you're actually the consumer again. So it reverses the role that you had. But not only that, because of the level of interaction allows, because it has the blockchain layer and component to it, you can store and share any kind of data, and you can interact with the internet through smart contracts. What do I mean by that? So for example, if I want to do a transaction between as a person who uses the internet and starts getting tokens for the ads that I see versus my information being sold to someone else for ads, I can start using the money that I've gained to send to someone else or to pay for things on another website. But how can I safely interact on the internet in a through the blockchain and pay for things? And that's where the other decentralized money comes in. So we now have, it's like some people say Bitcoin was the money for the internet. So Web3 allows for payments on the internet through different cryptocurrencies. And it allows for a new level of browsing of the internet. So I highly recommend to anyone who wants to try and experiment with Web3, the first thing you can do is download the Brave browser and see the difference between using a standardized browser like Chrome or Safari versus using Brave, which allows you to now choose how you want to interact with the internet. Not only that, then if you want to see and download the MetaMask wallet, then you can see how really transactions are done on the blockchain using that wallet and stored in the backspace on the blockchain and be publicly shown, or you can use coins that are not, depending on the kind of blockchain that you're using to interact. So Web3 allows another level of interaction. Another thing to add here, I think that is really important regarding Web3 is decentralized autonomous organizations. So now you have a decentralized internet, and then you have decentralized finance, and then on top of that layer, you have the layer of decentralized autonomous organizations. Right now, the governance layer is within the reach of the government, who is the regulator. Now, given the blockchain and the layer of governance that it can provide through code, so for example, now you choose how you want to interact with the internet using your browser, but also how you move your money using the internet and encryption that can be done on the blockchain through the browser. The other component of this is now I can, help to validate those transactions. So in proof of stake currencies, you can now be leveraging yourself as a validator, and through the ownership of tokens, you can be voting within different systems. So what do I mean by that? What I'm saying here is you can start using your currency to vote for different things that are happening in ecosystems that exist on the blockchain. For example, the Polkadot ecosystem. It has a main chain, a main blockchain with parachains that are linked to that blockchain, so that all the transactions aren't happening on one blockchain, but these transactions are getting fed up to the main chain. And so what we needed with Web3 is a way to govern on the internet. And that layer did not exist before. What Web3 is allowing is the governance structure for the internet. And what do I mean by that? So let's say you and a friend wanted to open up a company together, and then you wanted to take funds out of a treasury. You would have a multi-signature wallet that you can both transact with on the internet, and that wallet would only disperse the funds when you both signed on that wallet. What else does that mean? If I want to have proposals on education, I can use a voting structure and have peers review that information and then make a vote and have a consensus on where the funding can be distributed, whether it's with education, with grants, whether it's sustainability, whatever it may be. You can end up making those decisions using your vote within that ecosystem on the blockchain using the internet. So the possibilities Web3 are basically still getting uncovered. I've just covered some of the topics that are being looked at the moment, and it will continue to evolve because DAOs are still, decentralized autonomous organizations are still being looked at. And we are at the beginning stage of that, because most people are using this new Web3 in order to buy and sell, and also buy and sell cryptocurrency, get money for ads, and do staking. So you can go, and now Web3 allows for decentralized finance. So, instead of going to a bank and getting a loan, you can use the money that you have, collateralize it immediately, get that loan, and start using the money. And instead of waiting for 10 days for you to get that loan, because of the collateral you provide on the internet, you can get that immediately. If you want to save your money on a decentralized application, you can start getting a much higher percentage you would get at a bank. And so it allows for cost savings, it allows for automation, it allows for decentralization. There's so many things that can be done using the Web3 ecosystem. And I've just covered certain aspects of it. So governance, again, finance, and in general, the interaction you have with the internet. But that can really scale out. So another use case will be, well, how can I sell my information about my browsing to other companies? So not only like using the Brave browser and getting paid for ads that I see that I like, but how can I start making money off of that? We've also seen during COVID play and earn models. So where, for example, in the Philippines, players were able to play these games online and earn tokens for playing the games in the play and earn model in the Philippines. So some people are currently making more money playing games on the internet using Web3 than they are if they were to go to work, because of the way and the nature of cryptocurrencies and how things have been working. Because there's a way to monetize your time now in a different way, to track it. And I think we're just at the beginning. We don't even know yet where this can go. I've identified some use cases, and throughout this class, you will learn about more of them, how things are conducted, what kind of tokens there are, how it relates to internet, IoT, and other things. So I'm really looking forward to collaborating with you and explaining to you this amazing ecosystem. Thank you.